Hello and welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. Happy Wednesday evening. It's already hump day. We're already halfway through the week. Thank you for tuning in. You might be tuning in right now on X or on Facebook. And if you are, you're only going to get a little bit of the show. So come on over to rumble.com/Hayley. That'll bring you to the Bongino Report channel. That is the only place that you can watch Nightly Scroll in full. And you're not going to want to miss any of the show. This is what we have on deck. Election night. Blue wave, right? Because there's a blue wave. All these Democrats won these races, but yes, they're in historically Democrat states and cities. Maybe, we'll talk about Virginia, but we're going to get into all that. Also, fat people are starving as they lose SNAP benefits, starving for the first time ever, probably. Maybe that's a good thing. And that's not the only people losing benefits. ABC News is sounding the alarm that disabled people are no longer able to obtain prostitutes. So this is in Australia, not here, but in Australia. So let's all bring out the world's tiniest violin for disabled people in Australia who can't get taxpayer-funded hookers. And the Associated Press also they're warning you against your pet's carbon paw print, not footprint, paw print. And they say that the real problem is that we're feeding our pets, and that's killing the climate. So everyone just stop feeding your pets, according to the Associated Press and climate alarmists there. All right, all that and so much more on this episode of Nightly Scroll. A little bit of a blue wave, and it wasn't a presidential election year. It wasn't a midterm election year, but still, the fall off in momentum from the presidential election until now should serve as a warning for Republicans ahead of the midterm elections next year. We need to run better candidates. We need to run better campaigns and actually get to the polls. You have to get to the polls every year because a lot of these key races, they happen in the off years. You can't just go to the polls because Donald J. Trump is on the ballot. You have to go every single year. This is how school boards become liberal and local communities fall to this woke indoctrination. And maybe it is because liberals come out in full force in somewhat of a knee-jerk reaction to Trump, but they pulled out wins across the board. Democrat candidate for Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger, she ran on an anti-Trump platform, and she won. Also in Virginia, Democrats voted in Jay Jones for Attorney General. They don't care that he wants to kill the children of his political opponents, so that's concerning. Democrat candidate for New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill ran on affordability. She won. Plus, in New Jersey, multiple seats in the legislature flipped to blue, giving Democrats more power. In terms of mayoral races, New York, of course, elected the shiny new socialist Zohran Mamdani. Detroit elected Democrat Mayor Mary Sheffield. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, she's a sanctuary city mayor. She was reelected because she ran unopposed. And Vice President J.D. Vance's half-brother, Corey Bowman, lost his bid to become Cincinnati's mayor. California passed Prop 50, a redistricting measure that allow for 5 more Democratic congressional districts, which could have a major impact on the balance of power come the midterm elections. It's bleak. And here is New York City's next mayor, Zohran Mamdani, in his victory speech. And I just saw this before we started the show, that Jimmy Fallon from Fox said that at Zohran Mamdani's victory party, it was a cash bar. You had to buy your own drinks. And he joked that if you can't get a free vodka soda off of this guy at his victory party, it's not looking good for all of his other freebie promises. But this is just a little snippet of what Mamdani had to say in that victory speech. Listen to this.
If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Wow. The first part of that struck me because he was talking all about President Trump. And I guess they've had a little beef going back and forth. You know, President Trump, he grew up in New York. New York is his home. And while he might not live there now, it's still important to him. And he sees what a threat Zohran Mamdani is to the city that he built, basically. And he doesn't like it. And they go back and forth, right? And so now Zohran Mamdani wins the election to be the next mayor, and his speech is all about Trump. Not so much about the people and all the freebies that he promised, but he's talking about Trump and all this power, like he's a king with too much power. But Zohran Mamdani wants the government to have all the power. Mamdani's platform is way more king-like than anything President Trump has done. Zohran Mamdani wants free everything. He wants the people to feel unsafe and powerless, and he wants the government to control the food and everything. And if anyone has been to the DMV in New York City, as I have, it doesn't run very well. I've spent probably 6 hours in a New York City DMV, and New York City is about to run just like that with Mamdani at the helm. But his supporters are all for it. This is some girl in Brooklyn filming outside of her window, and this is all of the cheers for Mamdani. Watch this. I mean, you can just hear them screaming.
Oh my God.
She says all of New York cheering, and they can feel hope again. But that wasn't the whole city. I mean, he overwhelmingly won. But here is a former Democrat who walked away from the Democrat Party. He's also an outspoken Zionist. This is what he was filming on the subway after Mamdani's win. Much more bleak, I would say. Watch this.
I'm on the subway going home. And it feels like I'm at a wake. People are shocked. And this is not Cuomo supporters. This is New York cross-section.
I will say, as someone who used to live in New York City, no one's talking on the subway anyway. So when he says it's like a wake, I mean, for the most part, unless someone is doing some kind of a dance routine in the middle and begging for dollars, panhandling, it's very quiet on the subway. No, everyone's got their AirPods in. They're not chit-chatting for the most part. So does that video have anything to do with how this cross-section of New Yorkers really feels about the election? I don't think so. But let's get into who voted for Mamdani, because we've got white liberal women to thank. The septum piercing theory at work once again. It never fails. White liberal women are the bane of our existence. So here's the breakdown. This is who we have to thank. So 43% of white men voted for Mamdani, 48% of white women, 60% of black women, 52% of Latino men, 48% of Latino women, 58% other. But we've got, I mean, white men are really the only demographic here that didn't vote overwhelmingly for Mamdani, which is concerning. What happened, right? We know that young men are leaning to the right. They're all going to church. We have that momentum, but what about everyone else, you know? Conservatives don't show up in the midterms. They don't show up in these off years. We're good at mobilizing during the general, especially when we have a strong candidate, but not really on the state and local levels. Midterm elections are a flop for Republicans. Even after COVID, when we thought that there was going to be this massive red wave in 2022, there wasn't. Republicans came up short then, and we came up short last night. And President Trump weighed in basically saying that according to pollsters, because he wasn't on the ballot and because of the government shutdown, those were the reasons that Republicans lost. But I don't really know if that tells the whole story. I don't know why Republicans have sort of like laid down and taken this Democrat-driven narrative that this is a Republican shutdown because of the majority in Congress. But Democrats are really skilled at spinning the truth, and their voters don't question it. They literally take shit and eat it. But here is the truth about young people. Young people feel disenfranchised on both sides of the aisle. The government has failed them. They go to high school and they're told, you have to go to college. You have to get a college degree. So then they do. And then they can't get a job. And then they're riddled with debt. And they go rent an apartment and they're apartment poor. So they can't save money. Lots of them live at home with their parents because they can't afford a house. They go into credit card debt, and everyday household items and food are expensive. These are valid concerns of young people, not just young people, a lot of people, but young people for sure. And then a candidate like Zohran Mamdani comes along, and he's young, and he's handsome, and he's charismatic, and he's cool, and he tells them, I see you, I see your problems, I'm going to fix them. The issue is, none of them, Mamdani included, know that a lot of the stuff that he's promising is not going to be implemented. So that's the kind of glimmer of hope that I have in all of this, that New York City won't fall to socialism because Kathy Hochul has already said that she's going to put a stop to some of the policies that he's pushing, like raising taxes for certain freebies. And a lot of this stuff might die in the state legislature. And remember, we don't like Zohran Mamdani. We, conservatives, normal people, we don't like Zohran Mamdani because of the defund the police movement, the, city-run grocery stores. Most people know that that's not going to end well. But Democrats love that stuff. They don't care that he's been pictured with billionaire Alex Soros despite hating billionaires. They're hypocrites. They don't care that he's going to decriminalize prostitution. They like sex work. They think it's empowering for women. They don't care that he wants to defund the police. They hate the police. They think that they're all racist, murderous assholes on power trips. And they don't care that Mamdani was pictured with the World Trade Center bomber or that he's given shout outs to terrorist organizations. They don't care that Mamdani has lied and flip-flopped about the policies that he's pushing because they're not looking that deep into it. And they don't care how any of it happens. They just want free shit. They don't care that taxpayers are footing the bill. They don't get that, or they don't care to understand it. This is all stuff that sounds great on paper, and they are just trusting this dude to do it. And Mark Halperin interviewed a Mamdani voter about why he voted that way. And here was his non-answer. Watch this.
Do you have trouble affording living here?
I do.
And what do you think he'll do to help you with that?
I don't know materially, to be very honest. However, I can't say the same for Cuomo, and I can say the same for Cuomo, and I can say the same for Sliwa. That being said, it's not necessarily, how do I put this?
Take your time. Super curious. Take your time.
I think that until people have been elected, generally it's all kind of a big guess as to what they're actually going to achieve.
Someone in the chat asked, is that a tranny? I think there's definitely a lack of testosterone happening in that fellow, but also a lack of understanding, a lack of research. They just, again, they hear this stuff. They hear rent freeze. They hear free stuff, free groceries, free bus rides. And they're thinking, yeah, it is expensive to live in New York City. I'm going to vote for the guy who says he's going to fix that. They don't know how he's going to do it. I don't even think he knows how he's going to do it. But here is someone who worked on Mamdani's campaign, speaking of free shit, saying that free gender-affirming care is part of his policy platform. Listen to this.
Zoran is literally attempting to do what conservatives say, we want to do, which is provide gender-affirming care to anyone who wants it for free. And we're going to ship people, we're going to fly people in and pay for their hotel rooms. And we're going to do all of the Fox News stuff. We're getting ideas from Fox News. I want to do that. Thank you. But most importantly is we collaborated with the Zoran Mamdani campaign on his trans rights platform. And what we explicitly wanted to do was use the power of New York City to provide free gender-affirming care, and I say free in case insurance companies decide to boot us off, free gender-affirming care, not just to people in New York City, but across the country. When Zoran first kind of approached DSA leadership about running, his pitch was, he said, I'm gonna get socialists to vote for me and I'm gonna get Muslims to vote for me. With Zoran, we're in basically the best possible position to seize state power that we can be in because, we're like this, right? DSA has regular meetings with him, let alone his team. His policy director is my friend. I've been working with his campaign manager for well over a year. I have friends who are in his staff. Trans rights, I always would say, we are the tip of the spear. I've looked at Zoran's policies and I'm like, yep, these were floating around group chats and message boards for 5 years before they ended up in here.
Great. So this is part of the Mamdani platform. And of course, all of these people, and I say people because I'm really not sure what I'm looking at here, but they are wearing masks in 2025. And maybe all of this trans mumbo jumbo is because they're losing oxygen to their brain. But if I was a New York City taxpayer, I would not want to pay for anyone to make a penis out of their forearm. And I don't want to pay for whatever else, boob jobs for men who are mentally ill. That should be on you. If you want to chop your body parts off, do that at your own risk and on your own dime. But do not bring the taxpayers into this. That is not fair. And, I think a lot of conservatives and maybe independents might be concerned that Zoran Mamdani is going to implement Sharia law. I don't think that that's going to happen. And Mamdani supporters are poking fun at that. This is someone joking that he's going to implement Shakira law. Watch this.
So you could keep on shaking it.
And it says Shakira law starts now, and they are dancing to Hips Don't Lie by Shakira. Also, this guy saying that he lives in Mamdanistan. Watch this. Welcome to Mamdanistan. Yeah, and the comments are just crazy. I forgot to pull them up here, but oh my goodness. I mean, the people in the comment section are just saying I'm going to make my pilgrimage to Brooklyn. I'm going to convert to Islam. I mean, people are joking, obviously, but it is funny. And they're all saying Fox News is going to play this. They're going to think that you're being serious. And I don't know. But here's another one. Justin sent me this one. Here's a guy saying that this is what people are going to expect New Yorkers to start wearing. So this is a get ready with me in Mamdani's New York City. Watch. Today's New York outfit for the first day in the new Islamic Republic of New York. And he's got a turban on. I don't know. It could happen. Like I said, I don't think that Sharia law is going to be implemented. I don't even think it's going to be close to that. But there are real concerns about the rise in anti-Semitism. We can look at this. There was an attack on a Jewish school in Brooklyn. I think it was a yeshiva school. And this is a swastika being spray painted on a school. This is horrific. And the tweet says, my community's yeshiva Jewish day school in Brooklyn, where I taught years ago. You can see the swastika in the window there. And then there's another photo, if you scroll down, of another swastika outside on a pillar outside the school. And then if we scroll back up, this is what Mayor-elect Mamdani had to say. This is a disgusting and heartbreaking act of anti-Semitism, and it has no place in our beautiful city. As mayor, I will always stand steadfast with our Jewish neighbors to root the scourge of anti-Semitism out of our city. Now, did Zoran Mamdani personally incite this attack per se? No. Do we know that the person who carried this out voted for Zoran Mamdani? Also, no. But you can't ignore the fact that this attack happened the night after he won the race. So are anti-Semites in New York feeling emboldened now that they have voted in a Muslim mayor who refuses to condemn Hamas and other terrorist organizations? But in all seriousness, there are very real concerns about Mamdani's stance on crime, which is a huge problem in New York City. It's part of the reason why I moved out of New York City. I did not feel safe on the subways. I tell this story all the time, but I witnessed a domestic assault, a very violent domestic assault on the subway. I had to call the police and hope that they got there in time because there was not a police officer in sight. If something bad happens to you on the subway, you walk out onto the subway platform, you're on your own. No one is coming to help you. That is the reality in New York City. And that is the reality in a New York City where we had a mayor who still believed in police. Zoran Mamdani does not want that. And he's kind of like walked these statements back now after getting backlash where he says like, yeah, I want to defund the police, or yeah, I think that, we shouldn't put people in jail anymore. And he's walked that back. Oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. Don't believe the walkbacks. But here is what Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa had to say about what he will do if crime gets bad in New York City. Watch.
Let me warn our new leader. If you try to implement socialism, if you try to render our police weak and impotent, if you forsake the people's public safety, we're not only organizing, but we are mobilizing, and we will become the mayor-elect and his supporters' worst enemies, worst nightmare.
And New York City might need a guardian angel revival. We need people who are going to work on crime and prevent crime, considering New York City's fire commissioner, who happens to be Jewish, resigned. Robert Tucker handed in his resignation first thing this morning. He's not going to work under Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani. He's going to step down from the role that he has had for just over a year. He doesn't want to work under him. He will go back working private security, but he is no longer going to be working for the city. People in law enforcement, they do not want to work under a Mayor Mamdani that is going to undermine the important work that they do. Not worth it. And New Yorkers will ultimately pay the price. Taking a quick break to tell you about our sponsors for tonight's show. First up is Helix Sleep. As the weather cools down and we all start to spend more time indoors, especially in our bedrooms, there is one upgrade I am so glad that I made: my Helix mattress. I used to wake up with back pain, night sweats. Now that I've switched to Helix, I sleep deeper, cooler, and way more comfortably, making my busy schedule a lot more manageable. And with the holidays coming up, hosting means everyone's sleep matters. It is the perfect time to invest in better sleep for you and your guests. Helix makes it easy with their sleep quiz that matches you to the perfect mattress based on your sleep style. Whether you're a side sleeper, if you run hot at night, or need extra support, Helix has a mattress that is built for you. Mine was delivered right to my door, free shipping, and I had 120 nights to try it risk-free. I loved it. And Justin has a Helix mattress now as well. So how are you liking it?
It's absolutely fantastic.
Fantastic?
Absolutely fantastic.
Sleeping cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Sleeping better?
I believe so. I mean, if it's only
Sleeping
been
longer?
a week, it might be placebo, but I'm buying it. Like, it is a pretty sweet.
It is seriously the best mattress that I've ever owned, and Helix has an exclusive offer for my listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/Hayley, that is Hayley, for 27% off site-wide. That is helixsleep.com/Hayley, Hayley, for 27% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name into the purchase survey so that we know that they know that we sent you. Again, that is helixsleep.com/Hayley. And make sure that you type my name right. Make sure that you spell it right. I get a lot of comments and I see a lot of people in the chat spelling my name wrong, and you're not going to get your discount. So Hayley. Also want to tell you, of course, about our friends at Blackout Coffee. You already know I'm a big fan of theirs, but if you need that caffeine fix fast in the morning, their coffee pods are a total game changer. These are not your average grocery store pods. Blackout pods are packed with fresh roasted, bold coffee made right here in Florida. They work fast with those single-serve pod brewers. You are going to have a wonderful cup of coffee in just seconds, and it is very, very delicious. You got to check out their Christmas flavors, their holiday flavors. I'm a big peppermint mocha girl, so if you're into that sort of thing, they've got you covered. And other holiday flavors. They're not bitter, they're not stale. Just pop in one of their coffee pods and you will have a smooth cup in just seconds. So if you're racing out the door, juggling kids, jumping into back-to-back calls, this is your new morning lifesaver. And the best part is they ship nationwide, so no matter where you live, you can have Florida fresh coffee at your door in just days. Head to blackoutcoffee.com/scroll or use code SCROLL at checkout for 20% off your first order. Well, moving now to Virginia, the purple state that is now blue. And, Jay Jones is now going to be the attorney general. And as we know, he's the one who sent text messages saying that he wanted to kill Virginia House Speaker, a Republican, Todd Gilbert. This is what he wrote in a text message. 3 people, 2 bullets, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. He would rather kill Gilbert than Hitler. But then he went on to call Republicans fascists and even Gilbert's children fascists. And Jay Jones has since apologized for those texts. This was during the campaign. He said that he was embarrassed. He was ashamed. He said that he was sorry. He's sorry that he got caught. He's sorry that the text messages came out. So he said, I can't take back what I said in these text messages. I can only take full accountability and say sorry. And a new poll showed that less than half of voters in Virginia saw those texts as disqualifying. Listen to this.
If you look at some of the questions over the Jay Jones texts and that scandal from text back to 2022 and how this is affecting the attorney general's race there, possibility of a split ticket, we asked voters what best describes their opinion of those leaked texts. Almost half found them to be disqualifying. About 1 in 4 said they were concerning, but then another 1 in 4 said they weren't concerned or they hadn't heard enough about it. So we'll see how they cast their vote when those numbers start to come in.
46%, that is less than half, said that they were disqualifying. 25% said that they were concerning. 10% not concerning at all. And he had enough votes to win. So these people didn't just accept Jay Jones's apology and move on to vote blue no matter who. They agree. Democrat voters in Virginia do not think that fantasizing about killing your political opponents and their children is disqualifying. They willingly elected that piece of shit as their attorney general. And how can Virginians feel safe? How can they trust that their attorney general won't target them because of their political differences? Will nobody be above the law under Attorney General Jones, or will he just treat Republicans differently because he thinks they are subhuman fascists who deserve to die? And he's actually not the only politician to wish death on a Republican. This is Hayley McKnight. She is a Helena City Commissioner candidate, and she left a phone message for Montana Republican Senator Tim Sheehy over the summer, saying that she wished that he would contract pancreatic cancer and die in the street like a dog. Die in the street like a dog. I will say, do you remember when President Trump gave a speech? It was after some ISIS leader died. And he said, I hope he dies like a dog. that kind of language should be reserved for terrorists. But this woman who's running for, this city commissioner, she thinks that Republican Senator Sheehy should die like a dog and get cancer first. Then, of course, these comments, this phone message comes out, and she has to apologize. Because again, they're not sorry. They're just sorry that they get caught. So Hayley McKnight said that she was speaking in justified rage. She says that it was justified to want a Republican to contract cancer and die because of his policies. And she acknowledged that she shouldn't have used those exact words, but she ended up doubling down, meaning that is exactly how she feels. How is wishing cancer and death on anyone justified? These people are filled with hatred. I don't hate anyone. And I certainly wouldn't wish death on anyone who disagreed with me. But the left has fearmongered so much that they believe that Republicans are evil and therefore they deserve to die. And they are justified in feeling that way. And here's what we do on the other side. We joke about sombreros. We put AI mustaches on people. We joke with memes, right? And it sparks outrage from the left. So we're seeing this again. Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert and her boyfriend, they went as, she did the sombrero thing. She did the sombrero or the poncho, and her boyfriend dressed as an ICE agent. A lot of Republicans did this for Halloween, all stemming from the meme of Hakeem Jeffries. And then the left is all outraged. Oh, how could you do this? They're separating families. They're zip tying children. They're all, this is like the left just piles on and this is insensitive. This is horrible. The kids in cages, they just they start spiraling. Meanwhile, people for Halloween on the left, they dressed up as Charlie Kirk getting murdered. And liberals are silent on it. They're silent when their side is way more disgusting and violent. Like any dissent against the right is justified and any dissent against the left warrants violence and murder. It's no longer acceptable for Democrats to be gracious when a Republican dies either. So Kamala Harris posted this on X when it was announced yesterday that former Vice President Dick Cheney had passed away. She wrote, in part, I am saddened to learn of the passing of a former Vice President Dick Cheney. Vice President Cheney was a devoted public servant from the halls of Congress to many positions of leadership in multiple presidential administrations. His passing marks the loss of a figure who, with a strong sense of dedication, gave so much of his life to the country he loved. Doug and I are keeping Lynn, their daughters Liz and Mary, and the entire Cheney family in our thoughts during this difficult time. From one vice president to another, to his family. This is what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to do this. And someone replied to this tweet saying, Kamala, this is why you lost. This is why you lost. And that wasn't the only response like that I had seen. So Kamala Harris wishes, sends condolences to a family experiencing loss on the other side of the political aisle, and people say, this is why you lost? I mean, Democrats are really open about what they want in their candidates now, and it is blatant violence against Republicans. That is the reality. All right, let's talk about these SNAP benefits, because I saw this video on X. It's going viral. And, SNAP, this was supposed to end November 1st, government shutdown. There's certain government freebies that are coming to an end. And a federal judge directed the Trump administration, because there's been a whole lot of hubbub about this. A federal judge said to the Trump administration, you need to make use of emergency funds to keep SNAP benefits going. And the White House said, no, it's not going to be tapping into other emergency funds. And the administration said that it would send out reduced SNAP benefits, and it might be delayed, but they'll still be available. This is the crazy part. I have to read this. The White House noted that this emergency fund has $4.65 billion available for households, which is not enough to cover the full November benefits, which is expected to cost upward of $9 billion. It costs $9 billion a month to feed these people? And this is what they look like. Watch.
It's really bad.
Danielle Grant is starving.
I know, I'm trying to see if I can get some food because we literally don't have anything to eat today or tomorrow. So we're going to try to make ends meet, and we can.
Desperate for food, nowhere to go. Grant
Look at everyone
and
in
many
this line.
others got to the Hope line today just to make an appointment to come back later in the week for food. Resources are slim, leaving 40% of Bronxites without money to feed themselves. Some still in
This
shock.
woman is in a
Heard
fur
things
jacket.
before, but it's like they're not gonna let people starve. That's ridiculous, but it's like no, that's literally like what's happening.
We hope the food pantries maintain open, because if they don't stay open, I really don't know what we're going to do next.
We asked people their reaction to hearing that the Trump administration will partially fund the SNAP program. People say it's not going to do much. They have families to feed and already struggled at the end of every month when they were receiving the full amount.
Wow, not enough. At least there's something to hold on, but I think everybody's going to have to get a second job.
It doesn't really last the whole month, probably like 2 or 3 weeks, and then by the last week you gotta scramble to find, things.
This couple has 4 kids. The mom says pantries aren't always reliable.
They have limited supply, or by the time we get to the front of the line, then it's really nothing there. So it's hard.
She says she's holding on to faith. Meanwhile, others are worried hunger will drive crime rates up. We don't know how much money will be reloaded onto people's cards and when that will be. In Longwood, Lindsay Tanney, News 12.
And this is just a snippet of what I think we can expect when there are city-run grocery stores in New York City, and when those fail and these fat people are very hungry, they're going to resort to violence. Oh my gosh, you guys are killing me in the chat. I mean, this woman, someone pointed out that she's like 400 pounds. They don't look like they're going hungry. And a lot of them are wearing very nice fur coats. A lot of people in the chat are telling them, go get a job. Go get a second job if you need it. I don't know. If I can't buy food, I'm not buying a fur coat. And if I can't afford food, how am I so fat? And in this video, they're talking about how, they get $1,000 per month for food. That's $250 per week for groceries. You can feed a family on that. You have to be smart, but buy rice, buy eggs, buy bread, buy stuff in bulk, freeze certain items so that you can use them for longer. Why are we relying on government funds for these things? And then you see how big they are, and it's like, what are you buying, Doritos? It's just crazy. Justin sent me this story yesterday from the Associated Press, and do we have the video here? Do we have the video of this AP thing? The climate alarmism thing? Let's play this. You guys are not going to believe this.
Pets bring us joy, but they also leave a surprising paw print on the planet.
Now, when it comes to those environmental impacts, it's their food, basically, and in particular, the ingredients in their food. Dogs and cats both eat pretty highly meat-based diets. And what do we know about meat? It's one of the key drivers of climate change.
What else do pets do? We have to feed them. I think that's why it's number one. Agriculture and where food comes from and ingredients has a huge impact.
But our choices go beyond the food bowl. Even how we bring pets into our homes matters.
If there are dogs in the world that already exist that need homes, it seems to be a more responsible decision for the planet than going through a breeder.
This is basically an area of climate change that we just haven't touched yet, which offers relatively simple extant climate change mitigation benefits that I think we should all be quite excited about and working towards.
Someone in the chat also brought up a good point. You know, Bill Gates said that climate change is actually not that big of a deal anymore. The alarmism is over. And yet, the Associated Press is saying that pets have a pretty sizable climate impact. Not carbon footprints, but carbon paw prints because of the food that you're going to get. Because you have to feed them. So just stop feeding your pets to combat climate change. That's all you have to do. Just stop feeding them. I mean, these people are literally arguing that the food animals eat contributes to climate change. But these animals exist. And whether or not they're in our homes or not, they're eating meat or meat-based diets. I'm so out on the anti-meat propaganda. You know, AOC pushes this stuff, you know, the cow farts and whatever else. Oh, it's contributing to methane gas and there's a hole in the ozone layer because of all the cows. And meat is good. Eat more of it and feed it to your pets to own the libs. And now another government-funded freebie over in Australia. It is called NDIS. It's an Australian government-based insurance scheme for people who have permanent or significant disabilities. And apparently, disabled people in Australia are upset because their NDIS funds are no longer funding prostitutes. So this says for over a month now, people with disability have been unable to use NDIS funding for seeking sex worker services. Lived experience advocates say it's a step backwards.
The horror.
I mean, really? Disabled people can't have sex with prostitutes and we're crying over this? So now I'm going to read you part of this article because it's totally insane. This guy says they can no longer access sexual services funding under the system. And because of that, they could risk financial pressure. And this disabled person says it's deeply disappointing for many who live with a disability, including himself. He says this, quote, "Now only those who are financially well off in the disability community can afford this service by paying out of pocket." You should be paying for hookers out of pocket. This should not be a government funded activity. I can't believe that Australian taxpayers were on the hook for cripples to buy hookers. This is why these government funded programs are a very slippery slope. You start paying for fat people to eat Doritos for free, and then it gets worse than you could ever imagine. And I feel like, especially during COVID, I thought it was bad in New York, and then I would look over at Australia and think, oh my goodness, I hope we never get to that point. But you just never know. Here's a crazy headline. Apparently, 500 people in Maine were told that they were dead. So an email was sent late in October to 521 Maine Health patients, and they got an email saying that they were dead, and then advised them how their family should respond to this turn of events. And apparently this is the email that Maine Health sends out to family members when clients die or when patients die. So this email was mistakenly blasted out to 521 very much alive people who then opened the email and thought, what's happening right now? Am I dead? Am I alive? Am I dreaming? Someone pinch me.
They're trying to register them to vote.
Seriously. And Maine Health confirmed that everybody who received the email was alive and their care was not affected, and they also got a big apology. But I do think that that's funny to read that email. Am I alive right now? I don't know. Here is, this is Jimmy Fallon, and I like talking about these late night hosts whenever they step in it. You know, Jimmy, we saw Jimmy Kimmel get canned temporarily. We saw Stephen Colbert, his show, getting canceled in the future. And Jimmy Fallon is kind of like flown under the radar a little bit. But here he is. This is an oopsie. This is him talking to Hunter Schafer, a trans actor, about, well, here, he called him Buddy. Watch this. He made a mistake.
For Halloween, I was obsessed with how the Capitol people were in costumes, and I made my own costume. What?
Oh, Bud. I know. This is unbelievable. This is really cool.
Yeah, I think
now you're in Hunger Games.
I know, as a Capitol.
As a Capitol person.
It's crazy. It's really, yeah, crazy.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Bud. Come on, is that?
Kind of like not too far off from me.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Congratulations, bud. It just slipped out. It just slipped out. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I think it's because he was looking at Hunter Schafer as a boy in the photo. And it was like a little boy in the photo. Congrats, bud. Anyway, I thought that was funny. Let's get into some scrolling time. This today. Do you think this is bigger than my pink one, or smaller?
I think it might be bigger.
You know, the mouth on it is so big, I like spill all over myself. Like I'm always constantly got like a, anyway. Speaking of water, this Waymo, because I'm declaring war on Waymo. I don't like these self-driving cars. I think they're crazy. I encourage you to go back and watch Monday's episode of Nightly Scroll, where we dove into the Waymos and how a Waymo killed a bodega cat. This is all the lore. So now here is a Waymo driving into floodwaters, putting the riders at risk. Watch. Waymo drives girls into flash flood, almost killing them, and then shuts down. So then you see
the lights just went out. Oh,
the lights in the car went out.
Oh. You think that's gonna explode? Like I said, everyone's leaving. And they're just leaving the Waymo.
I don't know how, first of all, who is taking Waymos? Are they cheaper than Ubers or something? Can you look up like how much it costs? I mean, obviously it depends where you're going and how far you're driving, but is it a cheaper option, or are people just getting into Waymos because they think it's cool? It's like the novelty of getting into a self-driving car. But after all these videos that I've seen, I would not feel safe. I'm not putting my life at risk to save a few bucks. I don't want to have the car that I'm driving drive itself into floodwaters or worse. Oncoming traffic we saw on the Monday episode. They're hitting people. They're hitting cats. This is no good. So here's another example.
Grok inquiry says Waymo is more expensive, but also more luxury.
Waymo's more expensive?
Yeah,
but it's a luxury.
By about 30%.
How is it a luxury? You don't have to talk to anyone?
They probably that, but they also use better vehicles like a Jaguar. It says the Jaguar EV. So
I've gotten into some nice
stuff.
Ubers. I've gotten.
I mean,
picked
Uber
up
has
and-
luxury tiers as well. So.
Right. Interesting. It's not worth it. I'd rather get into a beater and not die.
For sure.
So. For sure. I don't know. Here's another video of a Waymo stopping a lot of traffic, and everyone else on the road is, watch.
Bro, Waymo can't drive in traffic. These people are pissed. Do not make AI.
I don't know why the other lane isn't moving around the Waymo.
Everyone is honking at this Waymo right now. This is crazy. And that's its emergency tone.
I mean, I don't understand. Like,
Don't
just
ride
move
with
around
Waymo,
it.
guys. Rip Waymo.
Why is it bad? People are just stupid. I mean,
Love
move
LA.
around it. Drive around it. It would definitely create traffic, that's for sure, but definitely move around it. It's just stupid. But anyway, here is revenge being taken on Waymo because, as I said, a Waymo car in San Francisco killed a beloved bodega cat. And here were some Dodgers fans at the parade taking out their anger on Waymo. Watch this. Not their anger. I think they were all just riled up, but they're avenging the death of Kit Kat, the bodega cat. Watch this. Here's some Dodgers fans. They're jumping on top of the Waymo. They have spray painted graffiti on it. They're jumping on it, defiling it. And I fully support the war on Waymo. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right, we have, 7 minutes left? 7.5 minutes left? Let's do number 26. This woman is, she says that conservative women reek of desperation. Actually, she said desperosity. Watch this.
My personal take on why conservative men go for liberal women is because there is something incredibly desperate about people who advocate against their own best interests. And I think men, on average, tend to advocate for their own best interests. They make decisions with themselves at the forefront of their minds. And I think conservative women are people who actively do not do that. Like, it benefits women a lot more to be liberal. And I think conservative men kind of have a subliminal understanding of that. Favoring a party that actively bashes the core of who you are, it's giving desperate. It's giving pathetic, it's giving bootlicker. And I think the same thing for minorities who are conservative. It's just like, you are not benefiting off this in any way. It's giving, I want to fit in. And I feel like conservative women kind of give, pick me, choose me, love me. But that desperosity is like really, really unattractive.
Yeah, so I didn't even really want to respond to this once I heard her say desperosity, because I thought it's really not worth my time to respond to this. But you know, am I pathetic, desperate, and a bootlicker because I want to vote Republican? I like lower taxes. I like safety. I like security. Am I a bootlicker because of that? I don't know. I don't vote with like women's issues in mind in general because they just don't affect me. All of these like, oh, women are losing their rights. I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. I have all my rights, whether it's a Republican in office or a Democrat in office. I've got all the rights I need and want. I do not know what they're talking about. Again, these are like figments of the left's imagination. The Republican Party does not, quote, actively bash the core of who I am. Like she says, I do not understand this notion that conservatives hate women or women aren't welcome in the party or minorities aren't welcome in the party. This all stems from liberal women's obsession with groupthink, where women are supposed to vote liberal and Black people are supposed to vote liberal and any minority. And I guess the Republican Party is only for white men, and only white men can want lower taxes and, you know, peace through strength foreign policy and a secure southern border and all the other things that the Republican Party stands for. It makes no sense. And now this woman, she has also bought into the doom and gloom. Not only does she believe that President Trump is going to continue to run and stay in office in 2028, she's just so dejected. She's so down in the dumps over it. She's just not going to do anything about it. Watch.
If Trump is president in 2028, guess what? I'm still not going to do anything because I'm in a perpetual state of inertia and I have a toddler to take care of. So I'm just watching the world pass me by like a crazy carnival full of skeletons and clowns and people I used to know, including myself.
It's pretty doom and gloom, huh?
Do you think she waited for the fire engine?
No,
in
the
back
sirens
to
were
go
paid
by?
actors. The sirens were paid actors for sure. All right, I'm going to end the show tonight on a video. This is just peak 2025. I hate the way that our culture has gone, but everyone just hates each other. Everyone's got their phones out. They're trying to record other people. Watch this.
I've never seen anything so disgusting in my life.
Disgusting?
Disgusting.
It's Sexy Patrick.
No, you're disgusting. You're like a pig. Look at you.
You know what? Two can play that game.
See me, I'm 70 years old and I'm in shape. You see me? This is what it looks like to be in shape.
Okay, but you probably didn't have a childhood like I did, sir.
You're disgusting.
You're disgusting.
Good.
You're disgusting.
Okay, here I am, disgusting. Don't come over near me and act like nothing's going on.
I wasn't harming you, though. I didn't say anything to you. You talked to me first by calling me disgusting. What makes me disgusting?
Look how fat you are.
Look how fat you are.
I'm in great shape.
Oh my goodness, people love my body.
No, they don't.
You're fat. No, you're fat. No, you're fat. No, you're disgusting. No, you're disgusting. This video, I saw this and, you know, yes, this woman is dressed, she's not dressed enough. I will say I would appreciate if you're carrying some extra weight to cover it. You know, don't wear this skimpy little crochet Patrick Star inspired, I don't even know what, set. I would appreciate her covering that. But she didn't. And, you know, she's really not hurting anyone aside from the fact that it's not fun to look at, but she's really only hurting herself by being that unhealthy. But if she wants to go set up a camera and film whatever video of her dressed however she wants, fine. The guy started it by saying, "You're disgusting." And then she said that you're disgusting. And then, of course, he's like doing a body check. Like he's turning around and he's like, I'm 70 years old. I'm fit. His gut is hanging over his pants. Then, of course, it's 2025. So everyone's like, let me start filming this. Let me start filming this interaction that didn't have to happen, by the way. This is my rule. We have lost the art of shutting the fuck up. If everyone just shuts up, none of this happens, right? You see a fat person out in public, don't say anything. It's none of your business. She's not hurting anyone. But now it's two fatties yelling at each other. It's just insane. Like then of course, the girl gets her phone out because she's filming. The 70-year-old has like a full-on camcorder out. He's like, I don't know why he had that on him. The whole video is so ridiculous. Oh my gosh, just everyone shut up and leave each other alone and stop filming.
And my favorite part was she grabs her phone and flashes her triple chin on the camera as she goes to flip it around.
All in all, this is just peak 2025. This is representative of our culture, and it's not looking good. So thank you for scrolling along with me. I had a lot of fun. Make sure that you're following me on socials. I am at Hayley Caronia on X, on Truth Social, on TikTok, on Instagram. You can catch all the behind the scenes stuff there. And of course, you can catch this show, rumble.com/Hayley, the Bungita Report channel. You can watch Nightly Scroll in full. You can catch it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And I will have a brand new show for you tomorrow night. See you then.